Nanjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Manah Shiksha series. Yesterday we were discussing Bhakti Vigyan Goswami's commentary that after addressing the mind and Maharaj speaking about the whole psychology of the mind, what does Raghunath Das Goswami address his mind? Sada Dambam Hitva, give up pride. So this is the negative thing, to give up pride. And what are the positive? Kuru Ratim Apurvam Atitaram to Guru. Guru Goshte Goshtaleshu Sujane. So yesterday we were discussing about attachment to Guru. And I'll just summarize what we discussed yesterday, and then we will continue our discussion. Specifically, Maharaj mentions how it is very important that we should strive very hard to develop attachment to Guru. Attachment to Guru, Goshte, Goshtaleshu, Sujane, Bhusarane, they all fall in one line. So that's why Maharaj has discussed all this in this particular theme only. And why is it Raghunath Das Goswami is saying? Because that is how we can develop our spiritual personality. In this world, our personalities, our relationships. This is my wife. This is my child. This is my husband. So we identify our personality based on relationships. So similarly, if you want to develop your now spiritual identity and spiritual personality, then you should identify your role in relationship with Guru, Goshte, Goshtaleshu, Sujane, Bhusara, Gane. So this is how we can develop our spiritual personality. And why Raghunath Das Goswami is saying that we develop very strong attachment to Guru. And I was yesterday mentioning a very important point, and twice I made that point, that as long as one's heart is not attracted and attached to the spiritual master, one should see that he is not ready for initiation, because initiation means surrender. And if you are not ready for it, then you should wait until you develop that deep attraction. Otherwise, we are risking our spiritual life. So we should develop strong attachment to Guru. And why? Because Jiva Goswami says that in front of the Guru, when we come, we see our own faults. So the Guru removes our faults, and serving the spiritual master, we develop the specific mood of the spiritual master, the right mood, which is required for us to go to the spiritual world. And we discussed yesterday the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was understood by Rupa Goswami. It was understood by Rupa Goswami. And the example is of Jagannath Das Babi Maharaj with his servant Bihari Lal. So yesterday we discussed this. And then Maharaj substantiates this by discussing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Vishrambena Guru Seva. One should serve with filled with the spirit of deep trust, unconditional love, Vishrambena, deep friendship. This is how Krishna's friends relate with Krishna. I spoke about Gaurav Sakyaras and Vishramba Sakyaras yesterday, if you remember. So this is the kind of friendship we should have with the spiritual master. And we should treat the spiritual master as God. That was yesterday what we discussed. Sakshat Dharitvena. And that's how we should worship him. So this is about Guru. And after that, we began with the discussion on Diksha mantras. And cast away pride completely, because pride is the identification of this material body. Ishwaraham, aham bhogi, siddhoham, balwan sukhi. So cast away this pride and develop this mood of spiritual love to serve deep from the heart. And that is exhibited in the Shikshastaka. Ashlishava Padaratam Pinashumam. This verse, it is exhibited that. And how love conquers all. The story from the Puranas, we saw that chaste wife. How deeper Brahmana who wanted to enjoy the prostitute, she served. And then how he had a transformation of the heart. This is a very, very famous verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yesterday we quoted that verse. Kushti Viprera Ramani Pavitra Shiromani Pati Lagi Kaila Vaishyara Seva Stambila Suryaragati Jiaila Mritapati Tushta Kaila Mukya Tina Dev. So this is how, the disciple also has to be chaste to the spiritual master. Chastity leads to purity, and chastity is a sign of love. So this is where yesterday we stopped our discussion. We went through Prabhupada's purport also. And Prabhupada makes that point that how a devotee should engage exclusively for the satisfaction of Krishna without personal motives. Anya bilashita shunyam. And then Prabhupada says that will make his life successful. Till then, we will not attain success, as long as we don't come to this point. So now let us continue further what Maharaj has to say about this particular theme, which we are discussing, attachment to Diksha mantras. Love can conquer everything, but one should know to love purely. People mistake lust for love. When explaining this verse, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that love rather than lust is what distinguishes true bhakti from what Prakat Sahajyas do. The Prakrita, not Prakata, Prakrita Sahajyas, they say that we also love Krishna, but that love is simply lust. It's only an exhibition of lust. Prakrita Sahajyas want to enjoy Krishna. They come to a spiritual movement, which is like the spiritual world, and they take to a spiritual practice because they want to enjoy the Lord. Remember, we as devotees might be thinking that, we are free from this tendency. Please carefully evaluate yourselves. whenever we go and take prasadam, and if we make a statement, oh, I enjoyed the prasadam, so you still consider yourself as a bhogi, and the prasad, the bhogya vastu. So if we have this spirit of enjoyment, even with spiritual substances, I enjoyed my chanting. Even that is, to a certain degree, the tendency to enjoy is there within our spiritual life. But how Krishna relished my chanting, how Krishna has relished this prasad, and how it has come to me in the form of his mercy. In this spirit, when we see, then only we are free from this tendency. So we should be very, very careful that we are free from this tendency of the prakrita sahajiyas. But they don't sacrifice themselves, which turns their spiritual life into a travesty. Travesty means they try to pose themselves as something else, misrepresent something else, and make a whole mockery of spiritual life. When we first receive Diksha, when we first start chanting the Gayatri Mantra, we are beginning to restore our spiritual identity. The beginning of a mantra contains the beej Om or Klim. This beej already contains the seed of our relationship, which is the seed of the mantra. A mantra ends with Nama or Swaha, meaning we are surrendering and renouncing ourselves. Krishna's name is in the middle of the mantra. Any mantra has this structure. Now, those who are second initiated, they can carefully now see the analysis. Our chanting sometimes, even of the Gayatri mantra or whichever mantra given by the Diksha mantra given by the spiritual master, can be very mechanical. But here Maharaj is giving some deep insight, and we should carefully study. Especially Sachinandan Maharaj has written an entire book on the Gayatri mantra. So those who are second initiated should carefully study that book. So usually the mantra has these three components. One is the bija, Om or Klim. And then this bija has the seed of relationship. Then there is the mantra ending with Nama or Swaha. And in the middle, there are Krishna's names. Sprouting through chanting of the holy name, this bija or the seed of the relationship is supposed to lead to self-surrender. So by chanting this mantra, it should lead to self-surrender. We will come to this very important concept. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks about what happens during the Diksha ceremony. He says, Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan. Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan. I will go a little ahead. Sei kale Krishna tare kare atma saman. The moment we receive Diksha and the mantra from Spiritual Master, we should do Atma Samarpan, which means we should sacrifice. At that, and the moment we surrender, the moment we receive the mantra, Saikale, Krishna Tare Kare Atma Sama. Krishna makes one equal to himself. Now, carefully read this verse. Diksha Kale Bhakta Kare Atma Samarpan, Saikale Krishna Tare Kare Atma Sama. Now here Diksha in one sense is referring to the second initiation, because Diksha means Mantra Diksha, but it also means Harinam Diksha. It also means those who have taken first initiation, and it will also mean those who have started chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra doesn't require initiation. You can chant and the purification happens. So now my question is, this verse is saying that when you take Diksha, then Krishna Tare Kare Atma Saman, Krishna makes one equal to himself. So my question to you all here is, that is it a reality that we feel, just like the father, when the son uh, uh, is grown up, he makes him equal by making him sit next to him in the company's board, and he completely gives his wealth to the son because he considers himself as equal, atma sama. So is it like that for us, for those who are chanting Hare Krishna, those who have taken first initiation, those who have taken second initiation also? Is it true what this verse is speaking? Is it true? Yes or no? And you have to say why. Yes, anyone? I hope my question is clear. Anyone would like to try? Okay, two hands are there. Birendra Yadav Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna Vrodhanatna.
Yes.
So, yes, I think because in that case, the jiva develops its real swarupa and
No. Let's not go, just tell me whether this verse is saying that moment you take Diksha, Krishna makes himself equal. Is it true or false, according to you? If it is true, why? If it is false, why? You feel no, it is not, exactly, it's not true that, Krishna makes Atma Sama. And why do you think like that? What is the reason? I want to know. I hope you got the point.
yes, bro, I got the point.
Yeah.
I think, bro, it is yes because when we surrender to Krishna fully, then there is a clear cut case of exchanges between the devotee and the Lord.
So it is
So
yes, but what is the condition you said?
completely surrender, completely surrender.
Yes, when we completely surrender, 100% when we surrender, that time Atma Sama. That is the point here. Very, very important, because this verse was a discussion in one of the GBC forums. And Atma Samarpan, here it is mentioned. Atma Sarpan. And that moment when we completely surrender, Sai Kale is mentioned at that time. At that time, when we completely surrender, then Krishna makes one equal to himself. So we begin, even when we start chanting, when we take first initiation, we take second initiation, we are trying to surrender. If our surrender is only 10%, then Krishna also only gives that much only to himself. So the surrender has to be 100%. And then only, Atma Sama is what we should understand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes on explaining what is happening. When a person receives a mantra, with it they receive their spiritual body. Now, very interesting. Actually, at the time of initiation, Diksha means initiation. Initiation means you're initiated into the process. Actually, a glimpse of your, Swarupa is given by the spiritual master. Now, it depends on the candidate's ability and the receptivity of his heart. Well, whether he can have that glimpse of understanding of that Swarupa. So, in a general sense, for us at the time of at least the first initiation, we receive our identity. What is our identity in the form of Siddha Swarupa? What is the identity we receive, which we are aware? What is the identity we receive in the form of a Siddha Swarupa? I hope my question is clear. Anyone? Yes. Yes, Jagdishwar Prabhuji. Yes, Jagdishwar Prabhuji.
We receive as a das.
We receive that das, that spiritual name and das. Now, I just want to know from you, Jagdishwar Prabhu, that when you took initiation, you had a crisis, identification crisis, that you forgot about your material identity and material name, and you had a little like sometimes you meet with an accident or you fall down and you forget who you are, you forget your family members, so something like that happened.
No, nothing like that.
So actually, when we take initiation, actually this is what should happen, that you forget your material identity, your material personality, and your material relationships, and you go into your, actually you are given a glimpse of your spiritual identity and spiritual role. Actually, that is what Siddha Sarup, that's what Maharaj is saying. If you have gone through such a experience while taking initiation, even for a few moments, then a glimpse of your Siddha Sarup, you were given a glimpse. And by now the process of chanting, you have to develop it. And when we attain the stage of bhava, then the Siddha Sarup is revealed. But we should, understand that this is what happens at the time of initiation. At that moment, our true relationship comes into being. True relationship between us and Krishna. Okay, now what I was explaining, if you could not figure out, now Maharaj gives the explanation from Jaiva Dharma. This is what happened when two of the devotees took initiation. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Jaiva Dharma describes two heroes, Vijay Kumar and Vrajanath, receiving this mantra from their spiritual master. So when they received the mantra, what happened to them? Let us see. Tears came into their eyes and they started to cry, Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. Their hair stood on end. The Guru looked at them and said, I'm not able to. You purified me today when I saw what had happened to you. So the Guru himself is saying, I got purified seeing the ecstatic symptoms in my disciples' bodies. The moment we receive mantra, we should undergo a transformation within the heart. After Vijay Kumar and Rajnath had received their mantra, they summoned all the Brahmanas of Navdeep, the Babajis, and all the devotees there. They made a huge feast for everyone. And while they were sitting modestly aside, waiting for everyone to finish their meal, in order to take the remains of their foods, they saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates come to participate in that celebration. So this is what happened during their initiation, that they underwent the transformation of the heart, started manifesting the Ashtasattvic Vikars, and the Guru said, I am purified by having your darshan. And then they arranged a huge feast, and Mahaprabhu himself came along with their associates to participate. So this is what happens when a person receives a mantra. They receive their spiritual body. But again in the seed form, but some can get a complete glimpse, a faint glimpse also, some can get a clear glimpse. It all depends on one's spiritual practices from the previous life and one's sincerity and one's, faith, deep faith in the spiritual master, in the teachings and in Krishna. All these factors are there. So Maharaj concludes on the next paragraph. This is a process that has two conditions. Both parties must make effort. In our case, we may take a little long to see Lord Chaitanya. Now, please remember that what the two disciples in Jaiva Dharma went through, it will also happen to us. It will also definitely happen to us. and both must make efforts. And especially the sadhaka should make efforts, not that he depends on the spiritual master completely. And it might take a little longer to see Lord Chaitanya. To see Radha and Krishna is difficult, but to see Lord Chaitanya is easy, because Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna together, very merciful. But in the long run, a mantra is to change our consciousness so that we begin to see the world in a different way, because we are removing the cataracts of selfishness. Ishwaraham, Bogiham, Siddhoham, Balavan Aham. This consciousness should go away by chanting the mantra. We chant Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Shalaka means a surgical instrument used to remove a cataract. And this is how in the Dhanvantari Shastras it is mentioned. The Charaka Samhita, the Shushruta Samhita, they explain Shalaka means it's a surgical instrument, especially the Shushruta Samhita explains this. Even in a distant past, they performed eye surgeries and removed this clouding. It is like we have a cataract on our eyes removed by our Guru. And the Guru removes it with this mantra instrument and opens our eyes with Jnananjana Shalakaya, the torch of knowledge. So this is what actually, a second initiation means. So devotee should be carefully understanding all this knowledge, what the mantra can do. Further, Maharaj is going to explain how the mantra takes us to the spiritual world. Receiving a mantra is called Dvija, second birth. And a person who receives this mantra is called a Dvija, twice born. Interesting explanation, right? We know Dvija means second birth. Birds also have twice born. Birds are twice born. First, a bird is born in an egg, and its second birth is a bird coming out of the egg. So birds are also called as Dvija in Sanskrit. Another name of bird is Dvija because they are twice born. What is the difference between the first and the second births? The second one enables a bird to fly. The second birth enables that bird to fly. During our first birth, we are figuratively inside a shell bound hand and foot because we are conditioned. Basically, we are conditioned. We are struggling in this conditioning shell, wanting to break free. We are conditioned by the modes. That is like, the bird in the shell. We are naturally free souls. We want to love, we want to fly, but we are trapped inside an egg, Brahmanda. We are trapped in this Brahmanda. Therefore, we need a guru who will break the shell of material conditioning. The difference between the first and the second birth is that during the second birth, one gets unlimited freedom and can fly. Of course, not just taking second initiation will, make that happen, but breaking free from that conditioned modes and becoming situated on the transcendental platform. Brahmana means Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. One who's on the transcendental platform, he's a Brahmana. He gets the whole sky during his first birth. He gets a shell. He feels much better in this egg rather than in the mother's body, but still it is cramped. Still it is cramped. So now Maharaj explains how the mantra, we can travel to, higher levels and destinations. Gopkumar is an example of the power of a mantra. Now the story of Gopkumar comes in Brihad Bhagavatamrit, and how he got the mantras from his spiritual master and how he started traveling to, he was able to break the conditionings and go to higher realms, Swaragloka, Brahmaloka. He went to Brahmajyoti, from there Vaikunta, and ultimately reached Golok. He had seen the Guru and began to serve in Govardhan, providing him with milk. So he was just a cowherd boy herding cows, and he had seen a Guru and he was serving him milk. Once his Guru was chanting a mantra, and as soon as he had chanted half of it, he got a lump in his throat. He hardly finished the mantra and then fainted. The Guru. Gokumar ran to fetch some water to bring him to his senses. But when he returned, his master had vanquished. So the mantra was actually chanted by the Guru in Gokumar's ears also. And so Gokumar started chanting that mantra which he had heard from his spiritual master. Gradually the seed, which a mantra is often compared to, sprouted. The seed sprouted. In other words, there are two things that occur during initiation. First, our Guru puts his spiritual experience into the mantra. When receiving the mantra, we receive Brahmanishta, our spiritual master's experience. All the spiritual experience is supposed to sprout in our heart if our heart is ready to have something sprout within. So we all have experience that when the spiritual master speaks, how this material world is a miserable place, just by hearing his experience, because that experience is coming from realization, immediately it affects our heart. Yes, it is true. So the seed of transcendental knowledge is growing. That is also Diksha. Please remember that. So similarly, the mantra chanting is the spiritual experience, what the Guru imparts to the disciple, and it sprouts within the heart. As a rule, a conditioned soul's heart is barren. Nothing grows there, whether you plant anything or not. Our heart should be fertile. So for the seed to sprout, the seed is sown in our heart. Now this heart refers not to the physical heart or the emotional heart. It refers to the soul. Please remember that. The spiritual master puts certain energy into these words, the energy of his understanding, his realization, and spiritual experience. Secondly, we make a commitment to grow what we have received. What we have received. A small seed contains the energy necessary to make a tree out of it. That is the potency in a seed. It has the energy by which it can make a tree grow. But if this seed falls down into barren soil, the tree won't grow. This energy is going to be wasted. Okay, so here Maharaj is explaining two things that occur during initiation. The two things which happen during initiation. What are the two things? Anyone? What are the two things which happen? Yes, Rasparani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So during initiation, first is that we receive the mantra in which the Guru has invested his spiritual experience. So we receive that mantra, and so it is like a seed which is given by the Guru. And secondly, like we have to see how we can, like it depends on the candidate also. So we have to see how we can develop it through our sadhana and progress in our bhakti.
Yes, excellent, excellent. Yes, so these are the two important things which we should remember. For example, now to explain this principle, what Maharaj mentioned about how the mantra has effect. For example, one lady told me that she had read the Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada. When she was reading it for the first time, she was crying from beginning to end. When I was reading her letter, I thought, why am I not crying? I have been reading the Bhagavad Gita for years, but I have never gotten tears in my eyes. Maharaj is saying this. She explained why. She said it was because she had immediately understood that each word in that book was true. So Srila Prabhupada's books also, what did Srila Prabhupada say about his books? Anyone knows? Very profound statement Prabhupada had made about his books. Yes. Krishnapad Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada said that these books are not written by me, they are written by Krishna.
Yes, okay. I'm looking for one profound statement Prabhupada said about his books. Yes, Sunita Mataji. It's true what you're saying, but
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Books are the basis.
books are the basis. I think you'll have to still grow a lot. Gautam Prabhuji, yes.
I shall forever stay in my books.
Okay. Still, I'm looking for the right answer. Govinda Prabhuji. All are correct, huh? Please know that. Yes.
They are law books for next 10,000.
Yes. Still, you're all speaking in Vaidi, in terms of Vaidi. Answers are all correct, but again, yes.
Prabhu, he said that these are not my words, it is Krishna's word. There is no
Already it is spoken that. Something more profound he told. Very, very profound he spoke. Yes, Varsha Mataji, let us see. I'm hoping against hope to get this answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah.
I think my books are bombs, like bombs. So that's it.
Pardon?
My books are like bombs. They change anyone's
Okay.
life.
Okay. Everyone is correct, but okay, I will still take the questions. Yes, Rasparani Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Haribol. Yeah, Govinda Prabhuji.
Books are my spiritual ecstasies.
Yes, this is the answer I was looking for. My, personal ecstasies, Prabhupada said. What did he say? Personal ecstasies. In this book, there are my personal ecstasies. So this is what Prabhupada books are. And, you're directly coming in contact with the personal ecstasies of Srila Prabhupada. It is said that even the ISKCON movement doesn't remain, but Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam books remain, then the movement will continue. And it is said, many devotees feel that, we could not have darshan of Prabhupada. Prabhupada disciples we see who are still on the planet. They had darshan of Prabhupada and they met Prabhupada, and we hear Prabhupada stories from them. But in the next few years, next 10 years, 20 years, practically none of Prabhupada disciples will be there. And after this first generation, then there will be a second generation. And after the second generation, then there will be a third generation. But as generation after generation, we go separated from Prabhupada, the ecstasies by studying his purports, the ecstasies of those who are there in the third or the fourth generation will increase. In fact, when you read a Bhagavatam purport, reading the purport, you should start rolling on the ground because it contains the personal ecstasies of Prabhupada. So this is what Prabhupada purports are. So this is the experience this Mataji was saying. Each word of that book was true because they are, Krishna is Satya. So everything what was spoken was truth. So that was the transformation she was having. So these are the realizations which Prabhupada has put in his books. And they can have this kind of a transformation effect. That is what she realized. So this is what she had realized. This is the power that Srila Prabhupada had put in his words. So Prabhupada had invested his energy, spiritual potency in his books. The same power is put into the words of the mantra by the spiritual master. Maharaj is explaining how the Diksha mantras, how those potencies are experienced, the spiritual master puts in the heart of the disciple while he hears the mantra. Similarly is what Prabhupada's. So just like a person who has attained puberty, male, his virya, his semen is potent, and the female, if she has also attained puberty and she's qualified, then that virya will impregnate the womb and give birth to a child. So similarly, the spiritual master's words, just like the virya, the semen, has that potency and energy. So just like the woman, first of all, has to be matured, attain puberty, and there should be fertile conditions for the semen to be impregnated. So similarly, the heart should be made fertile for that seed to go inside, and that energy is there already, and then it will manifest in the form of the transformation. But at the same time, the person who has received the mantra should possess certain qualities for this power to manifest. So these qualities have to be there to manifest. As I've already mentioned, the heart or the soil of our heart should be fertile. So how should be our heart for this mantra to manifest? What should be the state of our heart? What are the qualities one should have for the mantras to manifest? Anyone? What are the qualities of the heart so that it becomes fertile and it can manifest the potency of the mantra? Rasparani Mataji, yes. Yes, I have unmuted you, but I think there is some problem in your audio there. Anyone else? Yes, Wesley Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Humility, first thing comes to mind.
Yes, perfect. Humility. Trunadapi sunichena tarorapi saishnam amanina manadena kirtaniya sadhari. These four qualities. Trunadapi sunichena, humility. Tarorapi saishnam, tolerance. Amanina manadena. Giving respect to everyone without expecting for oneself. So when we have these four qualities, then it will sprout. So that's the point. Next paragraph. Srila Prabhupada explained that receiving a mantra is Divya Jnana Hriday Prakashito, or transcendental knowledge. When we speak about Divya Jnana or transcendental knowledge, the seed of that spiritual knowledge is within the mantra. In fact, the whole spiritual knowledge is within the mantra. But it has to be prakashito. It has to manifest. And if we have these qualities, then it will manifest. The essence of Divya Jnana is that when we chant a mantra, Madan Mohan, who is the personification of the spiritual master and gives Sambandha Jnana, becomes attracted to it. So how do we know that we have done our chanting or our rounds very nicely? What is the indication that today I have chanted my rounds very attentively and nicely? What is one indication you can point out throughout the day you can experience if you have chanted your rounds very attentively? What is that one symptom? Yes, Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It makes us humble.
It makes us humble, yes. Externally, what can be the symptom? You're true about it, but based on this statement, there is a hint in the statement here. Based on that, I'm asking the question. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to try? You can speculate also. Jagdishwar Prabhuji, yes.
I can see that when dealings in this world, then connected to Krishna means things are seeing,
Yes. Okay.
expanding the sambandha.
Yes. So the simple answer is that we become more attracted to Krishna. We become more attracted to Krishna, and our attraction to Maya, fades away. We are no more attracted, in the outside external world. Maya doesn't attract us much as Krishna attracts. So this is a sign that we are doing good chanting. So when we chant mantra, Madan Mohan, who is a personification of the spiritual master and gives Samman Gyan, becomes attracted. Madan means we are attracted now to more Madan Mohan, not Maya. When chanting the mantra received from the spiritual master, we should understand that our spiritual body is supposed to be growing. So this is what mantra does. Next paragraph. If you have any questions, you are always free to raise your hand. Srila Prabhupada often laughed when speaking about how Vivekananda received divine knowledge. In one of his books, Vivekananda wrote about how he once visited Ramakrishna. He said, "Master, give me the knowledge." Ramakrishna touched his forehead, and at that moment, as if an electric discharge occurred between them, Vivekananda fell down to the ground, unconscious, and Ramakrishna fell too. Then, when they both came to their senses, Ramakrishna said, "I have given you all of my knowledge. There is nothing left with me." So this is there. Prabhupada spoke about this in the lecture also. Srila Prabhupada questioned, what kind of knowledge can you give away, leaving nothing for yourself? This is nonsense. Vaishnavacharyas say that knowledge, Divya Gyan, comes with the sound of a mantra. But for chanting of the mantra to be really effective and for us to get a response, it is said that we should have 4 qualities. What are the 4 qualities? What are the 4 qualities we should have? What are the 4 qualities we should have? Yes, Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Trunadapi sunichena taro riva sahisnu nama manena manadena.
Yes, you are correct. But Maharaj also explains from a different angle 4 things. So let us study those 4 things. You are correct about it. When we are chanting a Gayatri mantra, the first thing we should have is Shraddha, deep faith that the mantra is capable of saving us and creating our spiritual bodies, that in the long run, it will take us to the spiritual level equal to God himself. So that Trunadapi Sunichana verse is the stage of Nishtha, and Nishtha means firm faith. So this is the kind of faith we should have. The second is Sharnagati. We should surrender. We should be putting into the mantra the power of our surrender. Atma Samarpan has to be there. The third is Mantra Dhyan. We should be meditating on the mantra and be deeply focused on the sound of the mantra in our mind. Now, please remember, even this applies to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Mantra Dhyan is very, very Mantrartha Chintanam, it is called sometimes by Sanatan Goswami. So in our Japa workshops, we discuss some of these techniques of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra so that we can attentively chant. although there is mantra dhyan, but we should be focused on the sound of the mantra in our mind. Remember that. And the fourth one is the spirit of self-sacrifice, swaha, when we are losing ourselves in the mantra. We have to lose ourselves in the mantra. You know, we are lost in the name. You can be alone, but chanting, but we can be in the best of the company. And that is the company of Krishna. We can be in the association of all the devotees chanting, but we, as our mind, might be wandering all over the universe. So, I remember one experience of Sachinandan Maharaj, who mentions how when he was trekking in the Himalayas to go to the holy places, suddenly there was a storm and he had to take shelter under a cave inside in the mountain. He was high on the mountain, and during that storm, he was struggling hard to protect himself. But deep down, he saw the Ganges flowing, and on a rock, a sadhu was sitting, and he could see him clearly, and he could see his tilak. He was a Rama Bhakta. The Sri Vaishnava tilak was there on him, the Ramanand Sampradaya. And he was chanting the mantra absorbed, and tears were trickling from his eyes. So although he was alone in that secluded place in the Himalayas, but he was in the best of the company. That was, he was in the company of Lord Ram. So he was lost in the holy name. So these are the four things which are required, four qualities: deep faith, Sharanagati, mantra dhyan, and lost in the mantra. These are the ways we should be chanting the words of the mantra. Now, this all as applicable to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for us also. So now let us see what are the four qualities we need to chant the mantra. Who will answer this? What are the four qualities we need? Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So first is deep faith, Shraddha.
Yes.
And second is Saradagati, we must surrender. Third is we should meditate on mantra dhyan.
Mantra dhyan.
And
while chanting also we should meditate?
While chanting, we should focus on the sound of the mantra.
Yes, yes. Okay. And fourth?
Fourth is we should sacrifice ourselves. I mean, our consciousness should be absorbed in the mantra.
Yeah, you should be lost in the mantra.
Yes.
So if you are lost in the mantra, then you're not conscious about where you're sitting, you're not conscious about your body, you're not conscious about your surrounding, you're not conscious about anything else. Yes. Because you're lost in the mantra. And when you're lost in the mantra, you're lost external consciousness. So if you're chanting like this, then you're chanting. Otherwise, if you're conscious of anything else, that means you're not conscious of the mantra. So these are very, very important principles which we should deeply reflect, which we usually discuss quite exhaustively in our japa meditation techniques and japa seminars. Okay, next paragraph. When we have these four qualities and chant the main 18-syllable mantra, Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Swaha, this Maharaj is quoting, although the mantra should be not quoted, because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila Prabhupada also quotes. We are going to feel the mantra responding. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Sanatana Goswami says that a mantra can take one to any level of existence. For example, Gopinath visited all the planets and became Indra. He would go to a planet, he would like it at first, but because he saw how they worshipped Krishna. So Gop Kumar, just by that mantra what he received from his spiritual master in Govardhan, Just by chanting that, he traveled to Swarglok. And in Swarglok, he saw how Indra was worshipping his younger brother Vamandev. With the opulence he was worshipping, he was mesmerized. He said, I also want to worship Krishna like this. Then a revolution or something would happen, and Indra would be displaced, and Gopkumar would become Indra only because he chanted his mantra attentively. So because now Gopkumar saw the way Indra was worshipping, I also want to worship like Indra. By providence, demons attacked and Indra had to leave his post. And Gopkumar took the post of Indra and started worshipping, Vamandev. Then he reached the planet of Brahma. And something happened to Brahma too. He was displaced and Gopkumar became Brahma. So in Brahmaloka, Gopkumar saw how Brahma was worshipping the Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, the 1,000-headed form of the Lord. And he said, I also want to worship the Lord like this. And Brahma had to, for some emergency duties, leave his post. And Gopkumar became Brahma and started worshipping the Lord like this. He moved from one level to another, from one planet to another. He was going up all due to the mantra. Sanatana Goswami explains his mantra was leading him all the way. Sometimes his guru would come to him. It is said that we first get a mantra from the guru and then it becomes our guru, our guide. It leads us. So the mantra leads us. Sanatana Goswami says that a mantra contains the highest relationships. If the guru has put these highest relationships into the mantra and we chant it, what level will we reach? We tend to be pleased with whatever we reach, Indra or Brahma. So what level we'll reach is based on what we are pleased at, whatever level. In fact, we can be pleased with $1 million or a skyscraper or maybe a mansion somewhere in California. So I would like to remark something very, very heavy here. Please bear with me. Please forgive me. By chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you will start getting all opulences because you're chanting inattentively. Nam Aparad. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Harinam Chintamani mentions by Nam Aparad, you can get all opulences of this world up to Swarga. So you will be pleased with whatever you get. Just like Gopkumar, went to Indralok. But because he had received a confidential mantra, which was having highest rasa, he was not satisfied there. He went to Brahmalok. He was not satisfied there. He went further and further. But we will be pleased, what? With some $1 million or a skyscraper building or a post here or some house in California. We will forget about everything else. When Gopkumar would reach a place, he would feel initially satisfied. He would also continue to chant the mantra, and at some point, a terrible pain would start to break his heart. He would begin to feel that the level he had reached wasn't what he wanted. He became Indra. It wasn't what he wanted. He became Brahma. It wasn't he wanted. He reached Vaikuntha again. It wasn't what he wanted. Even in Vaikuntha, he was not satisfied. Can you imagine? Because he had got a higher mantra, which was in Vraj Bhakti. Only in Vrindavan, he would be satisfied. He needed to go further. So even in Vaikuntha, he was not satisfied having the darshan of Dwarkadish. This moving forward is where the power of the mantra lies. If we chant a mantra in a proper way, it will prevent us from resting on our laurels or being content with something inferior. Now, many devotees have spoken to me personally, their experience, after especially attending the workshop we did on inattention while chanting Pramad, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's chapter 12 on Harinam Chintamani. And there we speak about what exactly attention means. And when devotees hear about it, and then when they start practicing, they see that, we are having now difficulty with our chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Because all the time before they were chanting inattentively and they were never put attention and they were able to finish their rounds. And now they are, after hearing this seminar, they are finding it difficult to finish their rounds. Because this is what is happening. Because now you are chanting the mantra in the proper way, we are not content or not satisfied because now we want to go higher. Actually, the mantra is working, you are getting cured. This is how we should understand it. We will always be striving to get higher and higher. It will help us achieve the highest goal. Such is the power of the mantra. But for the mantra to become manifest, we should be attached to it. We should chant it properly. That's what happens during the initiation. That is what happens during initiation. Raghunath Das Goswami says that we should have rati for swamantre, Diksha mantra. How we should be attached through understanding what a mantra is. This is the kind of sambandha gyan knowledge we should have about, Diksha mantras. And I recommend all devotees should read Sachinandan Maharaj's book on the Gayatri mantra. And then he says Shri Namne. This is the very last thing Raghunath Das Goswami says regarding the beginning of the relationship with Guru. Shri Nam is the holy name. Nam is addressed with a honorific title, Shri. This is what we should get attached to before getting attached to the shelter of lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. If we had, exhibit too much attachment to the deities, but not so much to the chanting, then we need to work more on chanting. If we consider Guru, Goshte, Goshtaleshu, Sujane, Bhusura, Gane, we understand all these things. Raghunath Das Goswami enumerates here the Guru, Vrindavan, where the land is made of philosopher's stones, where desire trees grow, and where the residents, the Vaishnavas, the Brahmanas, your Diksha mantras, and finally your holy name have one quality in common. They can fulfill all your desires. Naam is also Chintamani. Dham is also Chintamani. Our Diksha mantra can fulfill any of our desires. So this is about, Diksha mantras. Swanamne. Next, Maharaj will speak about attachment to Shri Nam, the holy names. This is the last theme, which we will finish tomorrow, and that will complete discussion on verse 1. So any questions, any clarifications on this theme, what we discussed today? Any questions or clarifications? One. Any other questions? Anyone has? 2 questions. So we will just take these 2 questions because time is up, and we'll just wind up with these 2 questions. Yes, Krishnapad Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you said that the mind which is material, the sentiments which you mentioned about getting Diksha mantra from Guru, those sentiments are received in the soul's heart.
No, I did not make these statements as far as I remember.
Something like this, you said that when you are talking about, the real sentiments when receiving a mantra, when you are surrendered, you exhibit certain symptoms. If you are in right, this thing.
No, the mantra is sown not in the physical heart or the emotional heart, but the spiritual heart. And at the time of initiation, you get an experience. That experience is not the experience of this world. You also will understand it. And that is a glimpse of your, Sarupa. You might get a glimpse, you might get a clearer glimpse. And you have to, now the seed is sown, you have to cultivated, and then your Sarupa will be revealed at the stage of Bhava. That's what I was discussing in that theme as far as I remember.
Okay.
Hmm?
Okay. Okay. My question was initially when Harinam Diksha is taken in ISKCON,
Mhm.
our approach, at least my approach, was quite sentimental.
Mhm.
And with that sentimental approach, I
What
had
exactly?
certain.
What exactly is that sentimental approach? I would like to know. What exactly can you express that feeling?
Yes, sentimental was quite theoretical understanding of uh, we should be attached to our guru and we should be surrendered to him as far as possible. And with the gratitude in mind, we take initiation and we feel certain experience of emotion.
Okay.
But later on, when it is tested across real surrender, or
Yeah.
you may say
I got your point. I got your point.
yes, integrity to Guru's orders.
Yes.
We
Yes.
understand that it was merely a sentiment and it was not
Yes.
mature sufficiently.
So yes, now we take up to the process. We are enthusiastic, and we take initiation, and the experiences what we experience, they are not real spiritual experiences. They are not the experiences of bhava, emotions. Now, bhava means emotions, the emotions of the soul, the pure emotions of the soul. But they are some kind of shadow emotions which come, and they are called as ratyabhas. So they are actually some emotions, some kind of emotions, but there is still contamination in the heart. So yes, our sambandhyan is still not deep, our surrender is not deep, and our attachment to spiritual masters is not deep. So that experience is true, but we need to grow by taking sambandhyan, by developing that surrender mood, and by becoming attached to our chanting. And when we do all this, that's why Shiksha is so important. After Diksha, real thing is Siksha. And when we do this Siksha and gradually develop like this, then it will lead to higher and higher and deeper spiritual experiences. So we have to now, the seed is sown, but it has to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the heart with our spiritual practices. That is what we need to do. Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Further, I also had this doubt ki when a second initiation happens, at that time, at least I am feeling quite dry as compared to what was first time. And so I feel fearful.
That means we need to work internally that although I'm not qualified for second initiation, but I have to come to the mode of goodness and cultivate the Brahminical qualities. And most important for that, that's why you should know, we studied the story of Gopkumar, what happened to him, how the mantra took him to higher and higher levels. So sometimes, one sannyasi told me very frankly, he shared with me that sometimes, devotees who take second initiation, they become very proud and they think they are a Brahmana now. But Brahmana is, Brahma Janati ti Brahmana. Brahmana means we should have Brahmanical qualities. So if you're not having Brahmanical qualities and although you have taken second initiation, it doesn't mean anything. So we have to genuinely strive to develop those qualities first. Secondly, we have to understand the confidential meaning of the mantra by developing that Sambandha Gyan, which Maharaj briefly has spoken. And that's why I insisted everyone should buy that Gayatri book and study it. So it's important that we study the Gayatri book. You study it. And then then your Gayatri chanting will take you to a different level because you're doing Mantantra Chintanam while chanting the Gayatri. So like that, it will, take you to higher and higher levels. Otherwise, it will become mechanical. You'll have to work on it. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, very, very.
Okay, last question by Wesley Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Is your audio working? Haribol? Okay, there is no response. So yes, we will stop here. And tomorrow is the last class on this first verse. And then we'll begin next text 2. We will be spending, as I mentioned, 10 to 12 classes on each verses because they are important. And please be patient and tolerant. And you are hearing this first time. And it might take few years by hearing and reading and to really implement it. But it is worth the effort. It is worth the effort, worth the investment of, spending these few months in studying Manah Shiksha. An engineer studies for 4 years and then he gets a degree. And then he starts applying that engineering skills and knowledge, what he has studied practically. So similarly, this few months we are spending in studying Manah Shiksha will, with the further study, start bearing you fruits after many years. So be patient and definitely you will be benefited a lot. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai. Shri Manah Shiksha ki jai. Hare Krishna.